But to do growth, you have to have a reduction somewhere on their timetable, right? Their scheduling only allows so much time, and I know they're busy enough. So if they can reduce their crown and bridge workflow and scheduling and so forth, that gives the doctor more opportunity to grow on other aspects of their practice.
This is Growth in Dentistry, a dental intelligence podcast where we ask the question, what does growth in dentistry look like to you? I'm Katie Polson, a dental hygienist and your host.
Welcome to Growth in Dentistry from the Voices of Dentistry conference. We are just having a blast. I mean, I'm having a blast. It's been a fun atmosphere to be able to get to know a lot of people here a little bit more and to be able to podcast in a new place besides my closet in Utah. So that background noise that you're hearing, we're at a live conference. So it's been really fun. Before we get started, I wanted to invite first time listeners. This is a special show that we're coming from Voices of Dentistry, but we have lots of other content on our podcast. We have something for those of you that are interested in learning about how other practices are thriving and doing a great job. We have some deep dive episodes. We have some shorter episodes from some key opinion leaders in the industry tackling problems like hiring and collections and things like that. And today we're talking about lab costs and in-house milling. So, but then we also have some stuff for DSO. So we've got something for everyone. Go check out the rest of our show. For those of you that are current that have listened before, thank you so much. Thank you for going to rating and reviewing and subscribing for this podcast. It helps a ton for us to continue to provide awesome content for you in the future. If you are a fan of Facebook, if you're there, please join our Facebook Dental Intelligence community. We'd love to have you there. If you are not a current customer of Dental Intelligence and you want to be one or see what it can do for you in your practice, you can go to get.dentalintel.com/podcast to get to do a demo, and listeners to our show get a $50 gift card to do a demo. So that without further ado, we have Byron from Glidewell. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, first of all, how you got into selling for how'd you get to this dental conference, Byron?
So it's been a long road and it's been really exciting. So originally I was in the financial area of things, and I was approached by a C-level guy for Denmat Corporation, Denmat Lab, based out of Santa Maria, where I'm from, and he really appreciated my time to understand where they were coming from with his personal finances, and he's like, hey, you should look into dental, because where the financial market or that industry was, I wasn't really happy with how they treated customers consistently. And I was like, I don't want to sell toothbrushes. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But he's like, no, come check out my lab. Come check out the lab. See what it's about. See what we do, and see how we provide for our customers. And long story short, my time with Denmat was a great thing. When I heard of Glidewell and understood what the lab does on Glidewell side, and if you're not familiar with Glidewell, it's the largest lab in North America, if not the world, nowadays. When they said they were launching an in-office lab for offices, I knew there was something to that. The largest lab doesn't approach dentistry where they're, I don't want to say competing with themselves.
Yes. Yeah.
But they're building onto something that he believes in. Mr. Glidewell believes that the in-office milling system that we now offer is the future of his company, which is saying a lot considering Glidewell's production.
That's a huge pivot for him, and that's awesome that he had the vision to do that.
Yeah. And so when I heard that, I definitely reached out and looked at my options with them, and it's been 3 years of some great times. To be honest, with everything Glidewell IO system offers, it makes my life a lot easier. People see the value, see how it can help their practice grow, reduce their overhead almost overnight. And so it makes my job a lot easier when I'm selling a great product with great support.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to be a sales guy when you have a good product to sell.
Absolutely. You know, when you have something you believe in and you see it every day with offices seeing improvement across the board, you know, that just makes my life easier, and it makes it a happy experience for everybody involved.
Yeah. So for those, I mean, if you have, first of all, we're not going to go into what in-house milling is, because if you don't know that, then maybe get out from underneath the rock. or do something else. But
Right.
what makes you guys different from, or what sets you apart, I guess?
You know, the one thing with Glidewell is everything as much as possible is vertically integrated. This was R&D'd in-house. It's manufactured in California. So we have the team that really put this system together. And that just lets us know that we can be there from anything that comes up. Because the world's not perfect.
Yeah.
And I think knowing that you have an entire company standing behind their product from step one on, it really gives you that sense of security that it's going to work for your practice. We have technicians on standby that can patch into the software and help you design the crown. Especially nowadays, I think a lot of offices are running into staffing issues and turnover and all these other pitfalls that are coming up. And they can rely on Glidewell to maneuver and transition those positions to help them get through those tough times and make those software assistants available to them anytime. And that really does set us apart. A lot of times these systems in the market are pieced together, and that makes it hard for that support to just be unified. So I think that's really where we really step up.
Yeah. How comforting for them. I mean, I know a lot of solo dentists out there, it's lonely. It can feel lonely. And when you invested, many hours and many years into a practice that, into a team member to train them on your CAD CAM system, and then they leave for another practice, it's a huge blow.
Oh, absolutely.
To a dentist, and one of those things that they might be like, I'm just gonna throw in the towel at this point. To retrain someone. So to have that support is really, really exceptional. Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm been asking this question because we're kind of in a weird place in 2023, post pandemic, and who knows if we're going to end up having a recession. Oh my gosh. Are we in one? Are we not in one? I don't know. But, what are, from a professional standpoint, what are you most looking forward to out of this year?
From a professional standpoint, it's to see our growth and where our trajectory is, even on my personal paycheck. It's invigorating to see that our system is still moving forward with growth. Last year, people were definitely concerned, right? The second half of the year, everyone's like, gosh, let's see where this plays out. And we still hit record numbers. And I think that's just down to the fact that when the times are tough, you want to have a system that is going to reduce your overhead, and that always adds a positive to your bottom line. And so Crown and Bridge is always going to be there, right? Recession or not, someone's going to break their tooth and they're going to need help. And so when a lab or an office sees that their cost is X amount and they can do a crown in-house for $35 and get paid that same day from insurance, it gives them that reassurance that, okay, I need to look at my overhead and be methodical about what I can do differently. And, we've done hundreds and thousands of these units. We have over 1,800 users now. I find that if you're doing 12 to 15 crowns, this makes sense. And I think most offices, I hope, are doing 12, 15 crowns or so.
Yeah, that says a lot. I mean, there's only, to become profitable in a time period where insurances are reimbursing less and practices are having a hard time hitting their normal level of income and profitability. There's only so many levers that you can move to get to profitability. We've got production per hour, production per visit, collections, and overhead. And overhead is definitely one of those. I mean, at least at Dental Intelligence, we can help you with all of them except overhead at this point. And besides, employee fees, lab fees is right up there, right? In costs of overhead.
Yes.
So, do you have, and this is off the cuff, but do you have any use cases of practices that you've worked with that you've seen that have had a crazy decrease in in their mind? Do you have follow up with your practices after you sell with them?
Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
with our system, it has, like I said, the support is just always there for you.
Mhm.
You receive a client success manager
Oh,
consistently
okay.
updating you on
Uh,
your production. We'll look at your previous lab reports, your costs, and say, hey,
oh,
your first month already, you've reduced it by 40, 50%, and you're still learning, right? Because
uh-huh.
you're not
Yeah.
going to, you'll be making crowns the next day, but you won't be doing it every day. You
Yeah.
won't be doing it same visit yet, but we're there to support you and train you.
Uh-huh.
And that's why our client success manager will go through all these steps to really understand, hey, you're seeing the production, and that reinvigorates the team too,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
They're seeing that, hey, we're offering same visit dentistry for our patients. My doctor's happier because our lab bill's down,
Uh-huh.
right? We're getting paid from insurance
Yeah.
immediately because it's on placement. So yeah, we have those numbers and we track everything as much as possible and report back to the office of we communicate how productive they are. And it's a continuous thing. It's ever growing of, okay, so you're doing X amount of crowns now. Let's look at inlays and onlays. Let's reduce our dentistry and minimally prep and things of
Yeah.
that nature.
Yeah.
So
For sure. And I mean, one of those levers obviously is production per visit. And this obviously, I mean, for those of you that are already using it, case acceptance is way higher for someone if they're willing to, if they can get a crown done the
yeah.
same day, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I think a
Yeah.
lot of offices, they have a misconception. Patients don't like going to the office.
I mean, we
They-
live there and we love it. But
Yeah. I don't think they want to come back, especially for a crown or a temp falls off and all these other
Uh-huh.
things that come with restoration, and they have to take another day off.
yeah.
So if they can do it all in an hour and a half or so, it's a no-brainer for them to say yes
Right.
at that point.
Yeah. So what do you feel like some of like the missed opportunities? I like to say opportunities instead of like mistakes people are making when choosing a system to help them do in-house milling.
And I think that's where this system really found its niche, is that offices love the idea of doing everything in-house.
Mhm.
And it sounds great. It's implementing that really comes into effect. When we look at numbers, especially when I look at numbers, I look at what an office is always doing, and that's crown and bridge, especially with zirconia being in the number one material prescribed. They're like, well, I do X amount of implants, I do, all these guided stuff, and I'm like, that's great, don't get me wrong, but your bread and butter is crown and bridge, and let's focus on that. Let's get that off your table. Let's reduce that overhead quickly and efficiently, and then we can look at other things as well. And so I think that's where a lot of offices, sometimes they love technology, and we love technology, but then we start looking at, I want a system that does 15 crowns at one time. And you're like, but why?
Mm-hmm.
Let's take care of the bread and butter. Let's reduce that overhead right up front. Let's not impact our staffing with too much technology or trying to get them trained up to be lab techs, because they didn't sign up to be a lab tech. Doctor definitely didn't sign up to be a lab tech.
Mm-hmm.
So let's give them a system that they can implement where the AI handles most of it. They pop in a block, it comes out ready out of the mill, and they're ready to go. So
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of offices, when they're looking at systems, they're like, oh, I want it all.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a little over the top. And we found a nice balance between workflow, staffing support, and just overall overhead reduction.
Yeah.
So that's where we came in.
That's awesome. Well, it sounds like you guys have really figured it out. You'd think so. So what, we ask this question to every single one of our guests because growth is important to us at Dental Intelligence, and it means something different to everyone. And you being in this industry for 3 years now, it's a good fresh kind of take on it. But what does growth in dentistry mean to you?
So I think it comes with growth in dentistry. It's looking at where that practice wants to be and what that doctor wants to do, right? Crown and bridge is a big part of a practice, but I doubt they're smiling every time they get another crown and bridge, right? So we can reduce their time associated with that bread and butter stuff of the practice of crown and bridge. Then the practice can look at what they can do going forward, right? What else in their practice would they like to grow? But to do growth, you have to have a reduction somewhere on their timetable, right? Their scheduling only allows so much time, and I know they're busy enough. So if they can reduce their crown and bridge workflow and scheduling and so forth, that gives the doctor more opportunity to grow on other aspects of their practice,
Yeah.
whether it be implants, clear aligners,
Whatever they love
whatever
to
they
do.
want.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it gives them more freedom with their time management if they can get rid of those bare bones crown and bridge stuff off their
That's
plate.
awesome. So what a great impact you guys have. You guys should be proud of what you're doing over there. It's awesome. Thank you for getting out of your comfort zone and joining a podcast.
I was really nervous. I'm like,
Good. He's so good. He's fine. He's fine. He made it. He's alive at the end of this. Well, this has been Growth in Dentistry, a dental intelligence podcast. I'm Katie Polson. Thank you to our marketing department for all their work on the show. Byron, I'm going to give an opportunity. If people want to reach out to you, how can they do that?
they can reach me via email. It's byron.tapocro, TAPORCO, at glidewelldental.com.
Okay. I'll make sure that is also in our show notes as well as our link to get a demo. That will also be in our show notes if you guys want to do that. Thank you very much for listening. Catch us next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.